On today's episode of Delusions of Automotive Grandeur, the guys talk about projects that didn't go as planned. Brent learns that double bagging O-rings does not work well with oil changes. Steven strips out the thermostat bolts, and Charlie learns that old Subarus had turbo oil line filters. Strap in. It's time for DAG Show. Welcome back, everybody. This is season 2, episode 2. Is that what we're calling this?
I think so.
Cool.
I'm down with that.
That sounds great. I like that. And I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but we have Spotify plays. We have YouTube plays. It's very exciting.
We have Belgian fans.
We have Belgian fans. So shout out to whoever's listening in Belgium.
Given they may have accidentally clicked on something.
It's very well possible.
Let's count it.
No idea why.
I'm not gonna discount it. Yeah. Anywho.
But they could end up being the track owners at Spa, and they were so impressed by us, they're gonna COVID.
They've heard you.
They're inviting us there.
They heard you talk about your dad's visit.
Wait, which one of the three of us would actually win a race at Spa with our cars as they are? I think Charlie would, right? Because he has the most power, and there's some long straightaways and things.
Only one way to find out.
I think I could take you at Monaco.
Interesting. Hold on, are you in the Fiesta or are you in the Mustang?
Well, you have to wait till the day of the race. I'm just going to show
Oh, well.
No, it's going to be the Fiesta.
I'm just going to show up in the Volvo just to troll you.
The Fiesta has a spoiler. You can't race anything that doesn't have a spoiler.
You can totally.
Brent, do you have a spoiler?
It has a spoiler. Yeah.
It does? Okay.
Yeah, I think most of our little hatchbacks have some spoiler these days for.
Yeah, it just, kind of blocks the rear window a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, my Fiesta is
just a backwards hat for the car.
Yep. My Fiesta is so poorly designed that just the standard arch of the glass in the back, not even the spoiler. Like if I'm 5'11", maybe slightly less, and I can't see more than 100 yards behind the car. Like I have to lean down to look further behind me.
Oh my goodness.
But okay, so wait. So your car, Charlie, your car is a Mark 7 GTI, and you've got the Club Sport spoiler on it. And the Club Sport is an actual like functional performance car.
Yep.
So maybe of the three of us, your spoiler actually does something?
Debatable. I mean, I have not run it through I've purely added mine for looks. If it's functional, great. I know I feel like there's always so much of the internet forum arguing of spoilers on front wheel drive cars. I don't care. It looks good. I
just loved your honesty, Charlie. You're like, I did it because it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. It's, I'm not out here for anybody's scene points. But yeah.
The newest thing, Charlie, is vortex generators in your trunk.
Oh yeah. That's good.
That's what Brent did.
In the trunk. I like that.
In the trunk.
I also like vortex generators in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
In the trash.
Yes, especially when equipped on various STIs and Civics.
Some of them came stock that way, though.
That is true. Look, if it came stock, I'm not going to fault it. I'll say, look, someone thought it was a good idea. But I'll say on most cars, especially the add-ons for fuel mileage that were popping up ages ago, not cutting it.
Did they actually have, like the vortex generators, did that actually come from Rally? Did anyone ever actually like intentionally do that? I can see it being in Rally just to like break up clumps of mud or something that stick in a certain spot. Maybe, I don't know.
Brent, you got this, or shall I take a stab at it?
I would say no.
Yeah, I'd say no.
Because I mean, technically they were, at least on the STI 0607, they had the rear roof spoiler, whatever you want to call it, where it was just a small little fin that went across. All it was is over, I think it was supposed to be like over 80 miles an hour. It was actually when wind tunnel tested and whatnot, where the air will actually go down through that and go through the bottom half of the spoiler overall on the
Makes
STI
sense. Yeah, makes sense.
to get more downforce, more or less.
Yeah.
So
you could go like sort of bourgeoisie with well, it's not really a hot hatch, but we'll call it a hot hatch. That's a whole nother conversation. Is a new Beetle a hot hatch? It does have a hatchback, but anyway, the new Beetles had the spoiler that would come up over 90, the turbo ones.
So I'm gonna throw this out there. Disclaimer on the Beetle hot hatch is no, it's not a hot hatch unless it's like extra modified. Like, and again, if we're talking about, hold on, are we talking about the like ones that are like the semicircle, or are we talking about the like the newer ones?
It's the original new Beetle, like 99.
Oh no,
whatever. Oh,
not
come on, I had a turbo one. It was great fun.
No, not unless it was like the they had a few that were like way souped up. Like if it was a standard bog standard non-R line no, it's not.
I forgot they made that one really expensive one. I think it was was it Europe only or very like they made 30 of them for the US and they were like 60 grand and they were all-wheel drive or something like that.
Yes, I can't remember the details on this one exactly, but they've made a few limited edition like I would almost describe it like borderline hyper hatch type stuff where it was like, you know, it's truly the like design student project of like, well, we got all these other parts bins product, like all these other parts available in the VW, Audi, Porsche catalog. Like, you want to just throw them at a Beetle and see what works. And
there was one turbo Beetle that had like colored inserts for the wheels, and that reminded me of those 80s shoes where you'd replace the little triangles on the side with the different colors.
Yeah, it's like
Brent, do you remember those from the 80s?
Nope.
Brent's 8.
That's all right. I can't say that I remember anything from the 80s because, yeah, too young, but can take away some of the 90s. But.
I remember the 80s. There was even a time where, like, if you had the shoes with these little colored insert things that would go into them, and you had, like, the newest color insert that no one else had, you were, like, hot shit. And then also some shoes had zipper pouches. And you could keep your lunch money in there.
Yes, your lunch money. Because that's how cool of a kid you were.
I was cool. Oh my God, I wasn't cool.
Oh. That's all right.
He-Man. I had He-Man. I still have my He-Man. I got my Castle of Grayskull.
Oh, man.
Why don't I have that set up here?
Why don't? Yeah, it'd be a great background for you.
I'm a full-on adult now. I own a house, a lawnmower, a leaf blower. I need a Castle Grayskull on my wall from 1986.
A library with many leather-bound books.
See, everyone's doing that. I saw someone commenting on that like it seems like everyone who sets up their camera has books in the background.
I don't. I've got Hot Wheels and a camera and a printer.
There you go.
That's all I got. And then my kitchen.
Printer?
What's
that?
Is that a fancy printer? Is it really wide or is that just a camera?
Yes, it's a photo printer.
Can I have it?
No. $1,000.
I mean, to you, it's worth $1,000. To me,
like $3.
That's insulting, Charlie. $4.
Anywho,
on
topic.
I have an idea.
What do you got?
We have 30 seconds to go grab an unopened Hot Wheel and show it off to the camera, and it has to be a cool one.
I have no Hot Wheels in my house.
Oh, but don't you have all your stuff? Matchbox,
Wow.
anything like?
No, man, that's how it works.
Shit.
I got one diecast at house. I can bring that.
Okay, we're going. Go.
All right, be right back. You hang tight. Entertain us, Brent.
I know, right?
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start first.
Charlie's not back yet.
But we can talk about him then. So, man,
No.
Volkswagens, I don't know. Volkswagen GTIs, like, secretly viewers. I love GTIs, and I love Jollies in particular. Yeah, Charlie, your car's great, yeah. Yeah, I like your car. I like GTIs.
A little RS 4.0. This is the Christmas gift this year. So I think not bad. Not, I'm pretty pleased with it. It's a little Maisto, so not the highest quality, but still like my first like adult diecast, I guess.
But that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad my dad got me an F40 in like 1988. That's that same kind of thing, like Barago or something.
Mm-hmm.
I still have that somewhere. It's got even got the little stick that holds up the
I had a Testarossa. That was, I think, this is a
1/18th maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right. I had the smaller. I can't remember what the smaller scale is. Like 140, something like that. Some diecast person will probably be sad at me right now. But yeah, I remember having a similar sized one for a Testarossa, and I always thought that was the coolest thing.
For the record, I have a distinction that none of you guys will ever match.
Oh.
I am the first person to injure myself while filming Delusions of Automotive Grandeur vlog.
Did you just give yourself a paper cut?
Yes, when I ran to get my Matchbox /
oh my God.
car, I ended up kicking my 1965 Mustang seats 2x4 wooden mount on the ground that I used for my driving rig. And I was in immense pain as I was running around the corner trying to find my car. Brent,
aren't you glad you didn't have to run around to find?
If I
No, I just had to turn around. That was it.
Yeah. What'd you grab?
BRZ.
Nice.
If there's,
hey, that's the same color yours used to be. Charlie, remember
What?
we used to get the color of his wrong every time?
Oh yeah, all the time.
We're like, it's gray, right? No, dude, it's black.
It was gray.
Whatever.
And this is blue. So, are you colorblind?
No,
I think we just found out.
I don't remember what color yours was.
This actually explains so much more.
I know it does.
But suddenly
Look at this blue poster.
Yeah. Oh yes, the red Mustang.
Yeah,
All right,
I found the BRZ at the Peterson one day and
Nice.
had to pick it up because why not? That was my test car.
Brent, were you just name dropping a cool museum because Charlie and I don't have a cool museum?
Yeah, because it's right down the road from me and I'm a member of it. So, I can just show up anytime I want and just walk through it.
Have you gone on the Vault collection yet?
No.
Peterson, is that the one that has the Bugatti that was in the lake?
I don't think
and
so.
It's all like rusty and corroded and just sitting there.
Unless it's down in the vault. I don't.
No, it was on display.
So.
It may not be the Peterson. Maybe it'd be that other one that's like the Peterson. I can't remember what it is.
They've done a lot of work to rotate a bunch of them very often.
Yeah, because even if you go like every 2 weeks, some of their collection is different.
Yeah.
Overall, they change it out quite often. Overall.
Yeah.
All right. So my Hot Wheels / Matchbox car is fairly unusual.
What did you bring?
A Tesla.
With Spaceman.
Oh man.
Oh,
Muskie.
Yeah. Orbiting the sun now in space.
I feel like you need to strap it to like a model rocket. Yeah, and just go for it. Just send it. Like,
dude, that's a great idea for a segment for the show. Like,
I don't know. I feel like that's a good Instagram story, and that's about it. There's not a whole lot to talk about. It's just
no. I think it's perfect, Charlie. I mean, I don't know how much model rockets cost anymore.
I don't know. You could get a starter set for under $50.
We may have to try to replicate that.
Can you find another one of those?
I think I'd like to. I'd like to keep one unopened, but
Yeah, I was gonna say just keep one, and then
That's what eBay's for. Just
Send the other one off.
Someone's opened theirs and.
Oh, this is a great idea.
Yep. And then other news, Tesla actually made it over $1,000 today.
I saw that. Their share price, yeah.
Yep.
Wild.
Yep. Good
Well,
stuff.
that's good. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff if you're an investor, that's for sure.
Let's get into the main section since we kind of really went off topic.
I mean, what is this show for, if not to show how off topic our brains is?
Way off topic.
I feel so good if I can get y'all actually engaged in a tangent really far from what we're supposed to be doing.
I mean, has anybody started projects on Hot Wheels yet? Because that's what I've taken some Hot Wheels apart.
Oh, like modding them? There's a Marty's Matchbox Makeover on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, it's great.
Oh, I'll have to look into that.
It's the most relaxing thing ever. He just takes like a trashed 1950s or 60s Matchbox car and just lovingly restores it and films the whole process. And it's the same process every time. It's like
super. It's that completion. Somebody's called it completion porn of like you just want to see the grimiest finish, like starting point, and then just the finish. That's all you want.
Well, this is my before picture because I have to go into work tomorrow, so I'm grimy now.
Oh, so tomorrow we'll get the cut to you being like clean shaven and presentable. And
as I said last time, George Clooney. I didn't need to bathe.
You mean
Fabio?
Well, it's Fabio is George Clooney's middle name. I don't know, I'm making up shit now, but no, I mean, because right now I'm wearing this hat because my hair is out of control. It's just, and so this makes me look professional. And by the way, I really prepared for this today. Like, this is just an undershirt that I haven't.
You're killing it.
Shaved.
You're killing it.
I've totally gone caveman. I have two of my coworkers. One told me I looked like a trucker, and the other has accused me of becoming a caveman.
Oh my goodness.
Brent, what were we doing? What's our main topic or something? Main topic. Me like caveman.
Continuous projects or a project that took way too long.
Way too long. Oh man.
Overall.
Project creep. Scope creep.
Something simple that shouldn't have taken long, but like,
or
it cascades into a disaster.
Exactly.
Oh man. Who wants to go first?
That was my entire 1967 Mustang, actually. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We'll have to keep track of who went first last time, and we keep it rotating.
Oh, we can try. We can try. I don't know. I've got
really
one.
matter.
I'm just gonna go fast. Mine was 60. My first Mustang I bought. It's not the current one I have. It was a 67 inline six coupe that was a former vinyl hardtop. Never buy a formal vinyl hardtop car. They're always rusty underneath the vinyl, which I found out. And it's the car that I did. It just stopped. I did what most people do. I did a lot of research ahead of time. I made sure I understood where rust would be in a Mustang. I was up to speed. I forgot all of that because I got excited and found a car and bought one that was actually much rustier than I thought it was, and I never should have bought it. Point in case is that car I had to use WD-40 on every single bolt I ever touched. It doesn't matter where it is in the car. My new Mustang, I've never had to use it once to get a single bolt off. It's amazing. But that car, I had the 67 Mustang. I had to change the thermostat. And in the process of doing that, I ended up breaking off a bolt in the block. I had none of the tools to fix that with. And so I ended up trailering the car to Ohio from Louisiana to get my uncle to help me fix it.
Oh my God. Yeah, that went from a small problem to a big problem. Good job.
Yeah. All right. Next.
I'll jump in on this one. So let's see. I think the best worst one. Let's go call it that. My wife's dad had a Subaru. Keyword had. Like the 2.5 XT, turbocharged 2.5 liter. Great, I was like, okay, cool. It's a well-documented motor. Should be no problem. Anything comes up, I can like throw an hour or two here and there. did his oil change for him. I think like a year and a half later goes by, and we're talking, and like he kind of casually drops like, "Oh yeah, like I need to get an oil change." And we were like, "Oh, when was the last time you did an oil change?" And he goes, "Oh well, last time you did it." And I was like, "Oh, that's bad. That's a bad start." Proceeded to get worse when he was like, "Oh yeah, and the check engine light's on." And I was like, "Okay, that's real bad." Come to find out, do a little Google search. It turns out like, oh yeah, this motor's notorious for like the turbo, like there's like a filter on the return line or whatever. And if you don't change the oil regularly, it gunks up and causes oil starvation. Longer story short, got it all back together after much cursing and swearing at Subaru Motors. And turns out once I got oil back in it that it was already too late and the turbo was fully cooked and dead. And that pretty much totaled out that car, at least in terms of getting it done by a shop. So we sold it cheap to somebody who was buying Subarus on the cheap and flipping them. So that was a bummer. And I had to be the person to deliver the bad news of like, well, it's fixable, but also not by me.
It's easy to do a turbo change. Come on.
It would be, but it was also like a really inconvenient time. Like Helen and I were, I think it was like 3 or 4 months out from the wedding party and stuff, and it was in our like the main area where the wedding party would be. So it was like bad timing, really bad timing. Not a good time to have a car project in your driveway taking up a slot. So, yeah.
Brent, what you got, man?
I'll go with the time I had changed my oil.
You're not going to do the spark plugs in the BRZ?
That's later on. Come on. So one night decided to do an oil change on the 2.5 RS, and
what could possibly go wrong?
Changed everything out, changed the filter. Everything looked okay. Put oil in, started it up just to make sure no leaks or anything. And I was at my friend's garage doing this, and he's like, all good. And I'm like, something doesn't sound good. It sounded like Niagara Falls.
Oh no.
I look under and it was just pouring out oil. Turned it immediately off, and we're like, crap. What happened?
It's the like, Tommy boy. What'd you do?
It just did not make sense at all, because we tightened everything up, like, you know what I mean? Nothing was loose out of it, and nothing fell out on the ground, like the drain plug, anything on that order. So we had to run to Walmart at like 11 o'clock at night. Thankfully they were open, because we decided to change it at 10 or so. And got cat litter and oil. I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the weirdest purchase that Walmart has probably seen, at least at that location. And went back, cleaned it up, and come to find out, the oil filter, the O-ring, the original O-ring stuck up at the block itself.
Oh no, I've heard of this happening.
Yeah, it was stuck up there, and basically you had 2 O-rings on top of each other, and that's what created that gap. Yep. Changed it, and
oh man,
changed it a second time.
You're like, cool
after that, but that was just a 30-minute project that turned into about 5 hours because of having to run to Walmart and clean everything up and so on. So
now I'm just lazy, or like I was telling Charlie earlier, that are like the COVID sort of like lack of ability to like focus and concentrate or have the inspiration to do the simplest of things. Like I was telling him that, like, you know, now I have the luxury of time when I work on cars because I finally have a garage, and my Mustang needs new valve cover gaskets amongst some of the other things I'm doing. And so I went to clean the gasket surface, and I got discouraged to quit after like 15 or 20 minutes because it was hard. Like, you know, like scraping a little bit of oil off of something. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. I feel like I have so many of those, like, oh, this will only, it's like, well, I read on the internet, it'll take this long. And then I've now learned, like, the first time you do that, like, double it. Like, just double it. It's, like, a lot safer. Like, the Subaru thing was like, oh, yeah, it'll only take you, like, an hour to get those. Like, the hardest part's going to be getting it back together. I had it apart in, like, 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, cool. So, like, probably another, like, hour and I'm done. Like, great. No. I've dropped every copper O-ring that was there. It was like every mistake in the book, it was made, and it was just so rough. Like Brent, I totally empathize. I'm glad your waterfall oil story was like the simplest fix of like, oh yeah, it doubled up an O-ring, like whatever.
Thankfully it was that easy, but and the worst part was, I mean, the garage was horribly lit, so there was like 2 little light bulbs in the place, and maybe like a little flashlight, and that was about it. So I mean, when everything was down and drain plug was off, the original oil filter was off, like everything looked fine, and you couldn't tell that there was an O-ring just sitting there overall. So I would say, anytime you're changing out an oil filter on a Subaru, just make sure that that O-ring is with the original. So yeah.
I'm like low-key curious now if y'all can hear what's going on in the background. My dogs are playing in the other room and making a shitload of noise. So I'm going to go ahead and formally apologize to the podcast and everybody listening.
You can barely hear it.
Cool.
That's all right. I was thinking, the other day we talked about, like a motto or something like that for trying to come up with an idea of one or something for the show or whatever. And we've got strap in the intro, which is pretty obvious, but I really like the idea of the phrase "what could possibly go wrong." I mean,
it's a good one
because we used it in the original audio podcasts, and it always comes up. Now I know it was in Top Gear though. They did say that, like, don't like Clarkson would say, "What could possibly go wrong?" And Hammond's like, "Don't say that." They would, but it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know.
Yeah, the best laid plans, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about something while we were talking, guys. I was like, like Volkswagens, like they don't always have the best reputation for quality. Like if you listen to, especially Ben Kenobi,
oh my God,
he goes on and on about these things, and then
but then he goes and buys another one,
right? And then he goes and buys another one, and that's my point. That's what
I love it. I love it.
And then like Brent is into Subarus with the horizontally opposed engines, and you had your spark plug fun. Exciting time, or I guess they're not called spark plugs, they're coil packs or some crap, whatever.
No, they're spark plugs.
Oh, they're spark plugs.
Yeah, it was spark plugs.
It's not a diesel. Okay. There's no glow plug.
But then you have, and so basically, like a Subaru, if you're into Subarus, doing anything on the engine is annoying because it's different and it's stuff's pointing at frame rails, and then like my dad has an ARC-7, which means rotary, and then I like old cars too, and frankly, what is it like? They're not literally objectively good at anything. Think about it. They're not actually measurably, demonstrably good at anything. But I love my old car. You love your VWs. I love VWs too. Brent digs the Subarus. My dad loves his ARC-7. Like, it's amazing to think that like people become so loyal to something that may not actually be that objectively good. And I was just, that thought occurred to me while we all were talking earlier. Anyway.
Yeah.
Why do
I
people
mean,
like cars that aren't actually objectively good?
I mean, I feel like it depends,
Because
right?
it's
Like
affordable.
affordable. Yeah. I mean, also like
Well,
I don't know. As much as Ben gripes about his, like I think it all depends, like right. Like I think for most people, maybe like a Volkswagen's not a great fit if you're not prepared to deal with quirks. You know, like I feel like Doug DeMuro talks quirks and features, whatever. Like,
You mean Ben's distant cousin? I swear
oh
they're
my god,
related. But go ahead. He hates when I say that.
it's cold blooded. But yeah, like any Volkswagen, any value car, I feel like has its quirks, right? Where you're just like, oh, that's like, yes, it could have been designed better, but also it was this price. Like, there, you know, like you can only ask so much for the value you get from a vehicle, I guess. And like, if you accept that from like a cost engineering type standpoint, I know I have some probably advantage of like trying to understand that and like empathize with automakers for that, where it's like, oh yeah, like Subaru's picked what it's got because it's got those motors. They're already made, and like so they're gonna keep putting them in stuff they're made. So
a Toyota Corolla is objectively good.
Yeah,
it doesn't break down, but that doesn't make it passionatable.
Right.
It's an XRS, which we've discussed.
I'm sure someone out there really loves their 2010 beige champagne Corolla, Camry, whatever,
with the gold badges, the
Sure.
limited.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's an at this point I'm like, I've been in car world long enough where I can say like, I think there's probably a group of people who are like enthused about them.
I just love that there was that phase where car manufacturers would call something limited.
Yeah.
Primarily Toyota, and they'd make the badging gold as if they would make more and sell more. Like,
oh, you got the limited gold badge? Oh shit.
Brent,
throw another $100 on.
What car do you own that is objectively not good, but you still love it? Why? And why do you love it?
Both the Subaru and the Mini. Like, I mean, you can say about the Mini, it's a BMW engine. It's basically all BMW now in a form of a Mini Cooper. I mean, BMWs have their issues too, just like VW and everybody else. So that's how I'm looking at it. It's as long as somebody, at least to me, as long as you keep on top of maintenance and treating the car well, it will treat you well in the long run too.
I also think there are very few objectively bad, like I feel like years ago there were objectively bad cars. Like objectively bad cars would come out like what was the one that fucking it was like unsafe at any speed.
Oh yeah, but wasn't it actually not objectively bad? The Corvair, like.
I think it still had that like, it still had the critical defect of like the gas tank issue at low speeds, and like a low speed collision could ignite. That's kind of objectively bad, but like, the motor, like I would say very few cars now, like I feel like are in that realm of like, oh, like the motor blew before 60,000 miles. Like that's an objectively bad
I'm thinking objectively bad would be the regular Ford Focus with that automatic transmission that was like everyone it was bad, and they finally admitted it. Like,
yes, that would be an objective. I would say, that's a bad car. I feel like even like the PT Cruiser was like, that was a bad car. Like no, like there's no
not the turbo with the wood stuff. That was
still
a
bad.
Work of art.
Still bad. I'm gonna need you to change your mind about that. Still bad.
Bad cars.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we live in there's something to be said about like we are living in probably like the golden age of the internal combustion engine, and there's not like, what was it? Mercedes put out a 4-cylinder that's from factory that's like over 350, 400 or something like that.
That was that hatch thing that was kind of expensive.
Yeah, it's the A45. It's like the Golf R competitor. Yeah, it's monster. It's a 4-cylinder. Like, come on. Like, I know you can do that in the aftermarket, but like to do that from the factory is like bonkers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to actually have a warranty on it too.
Yeah. To warranty that, I'm like, ooh, like if I was in Europe and that was available, and I had like cash to just blow and like be pretentious as fuck,
might as well.
Yeah, might as well, like. But I don't, so I have a Volkswagen.
Did you guys see the lease deal that Hyundai was doing on the Ioniq?
No, what are you referring to?
It was $1,000 down and $79 a month.
Sounds about right. I mean, it's an appliance.
Yeah, but
So
that's awesome, man. I mean, like,
just think that is cheaper than some cell phone payments now.
It's right, and also like
I would say majority of cell phone payments.
Like Charlie, not your commute, and not Brent's when he is up and running. But like my commute's a fairly typical commute. Okay, it's like 13 miles. Okay,
right. Yeah.
Like I could. Is that your dog again?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was there or here. But
she's back there.
Oh, she's back there. Is the $79 a month? I mean, that's like what I would pay in gas a month.
Yeah.
So it's kind of free in a way, like other than getting the charger installed.
I mean, and even then, like technically, if you're just charging overnight, you could potentially just, top up overnight and probably not even need to install the charger.
I've got a 30 amp plug, which would be enough to get twice normal flow, So I was really intrigued by that for a minute. It's almost like if I didn't have a note still on the Fiesta, I was like seriously considering it, because I was like, if I didn't have a note on the Fiesta, I could take the Fiesta and start to preserve it a bit. I don't intend to like put it on a shelf or anything.
Sure.
But like to me,
you got to put it in a bubble.
I could actually might fit on a shelf.
So to get that like little hurricane bubble and just like have it inflated at all times in case the wood shop falls around.
Yeah. No, but I'm actually entertaining the idea of, and this is a great question for both of y'all. Are either of you entertaining the idea of keeping your main current car, the Mark 7 or the Mini, for decades?
Yes.
Interesting.
Nope.
Why and why not?
I'll let you lead, Brent.
Because there's other things that we would like. I mean, my project car is the Subaru overall. And I know viewers out there don't know about this, but we're planning to move up to Seattle soon, within the next couple of years. So at that point, the Mini would be paid off for. And we will probably get a Tesla Model 3 or a Model Y at that point. As like the main vehicle. We can use it for long distance travel, stuff on that order. And we may keep the Mini since it would be paid off, just so she would have another car.
Mm-hmm.
Or
because naturally she wouldn't want to drive the Tesla.
She would. But I don't know yet, because I'm, we've talked about the electric Mini that just came out. The Mini Cooper E or whatever, the electric version of it. We've talked about that, but I think it's better off in a big city. We aren't going to be living in Seattle itself. We're still going to have a big commute to Seattle if we go. So like if we stayed in Los Angeles, it would be a different story. We would be definitely looking at the Mini Cooper E. I've brought up a Subaru Crosstrek hybrid where it's got the electric side and gas side, and supposedly it gets about 480 miles to a tank.
Nice.
That
so
might
basically
be
you're saying like
else.
your Subaru is sort of where your passion is, and your Mini is filling a slot in the lineup that's an appliance, but it's a fun appliance. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the car or anything, but like that's just the position it's holding. But for Charlie, I know for me with the Fiesta, the reason I'm considering keeping it is because it's it doesn't have any nannies. It doesn't change lanes for you. It doesn't have launch control and all that crazy start-stop stuff. Not that it's necessarily bad in the new Fiesta ST, but it's sort of like the last of the real Fiesta STs, in my opinion. or analog-ish. So that's what I'm kind of fascinated with the idea of keeping it, and it's a manual too. So why are you considering keeping the GTI? Is it sentimentality or is it like a mechanical thing?
A little bit of both, I think. I mean, you touched on some good points. Analog driving experience, like it's not truly analog by any stretch of the imagination. It's it's not a hydraulic rack; it's the fully electric rack. But the steering feels good. I think it's there's a reason why it won like the 2015 Car of the Year or whatever, like on a bunch of things, and like there's a reason why the GTI is like so favorably looked upon in the hot hatch world. It is a formula that it has been done pretty well. And 2 doors. It is like the last Volkswagen with 2 doors right now. So that's kind of cool.
And is it the first new car you bought, or was your diesel?
It was the first brand new car I bought.
Okay.
So I did buy the diesel used.
Yeah.
But
there's something to say for that too. Like I've got sentimentality with the Fiesta.
Yeah,
that was a big life moment, doing that. Like it's an accomplishment,
Yeah, and like I feel like I've also done a lot of things to like make the Volkswagen kind of mine. So like the brakes, the head unit,
the Hello Kitty sticker.
Yeah, the Hello Kitty sticker. I mean, like it's just a car at this point. I know inside and out, and I kind of plan for it to be a longer ownership.
And there's always N+1.
Exactly. Like it's going to be paid off next year entirely. So like it's just going to be chilling, and we have an old Volvo that like gets relegated for the occasional like dog trip use to the parks
and rallycross.
Yeah, and whenever it snows or whatever, like it's in good enough condition that it gets me around town in less than great weather. But eventually we'll probably get rid of that, and either we'll go to one car or something electric to like bop around town. But yeah, I mean, like right now, I think you rightly pointed out, like our commute is like pretty much like, oh yeah, like could, if we were without, 2 cars, we'd be fine. So, which is nice because that just puts us in a spot where we're, similar to Brent, saving money for a house and stuff like that. So,
well, hey, to everyone watching, this is about time to wrap it up here. So we've got the second episode under our belts, and for those of you that wrote out, the audio only podcast, those finely crafted things, thank you and keep sticking with us. To our Belgian fans, we love you. But it's great hanging out with you guys, and to everyone out there, keep tuning in. We've got Spotify. We're also on iTunes and any other thing I'm forgetting, Brent.
Just YouTube.
Just the YouTube.
Oh, that old thing.
That one.
Just that old thing where everybody can see our faces,
Yeah.
Well, look, guys, we appreciate you tuning in, and hang in there. See you next time.
See you next time.
See you.
If you enjoyed DAG Show, please like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We are also available on iTunes and Spotify by searching for Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. Thanks again for tuning in, and as always, may the grandeur of your automobiles be delusional.
Wait, man, is he going to say 2 and 1?
Isn't that what happened to 2 and 1?
Bill and Ted's. There's a new Bill and Ted's trailer.
Oh, we're recording. Oh shit.
Are we recording?
Oh
quick,
shit.
Act
oh
professional.
shit. Quick. I did act like I didn't just fall out of my seat. Yep. Yeah.